How you doing? It's Mark, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So, I'm 60 years old, or at least I'm turning 60 in the next month, and I just thought it'd be time to start my own YouTube channel, talk about life going into age 60, and all the trials and tribulations that go along with it, and also discuss my history, my background, and all things that I've done, and maybe have some fun. So, one of the things I do to try to stay fit as someone pushing 60 now is I've been doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, if you don't know this, is a grappling art based off of Japanese Jiu Jitsu. And, the Brazilians took a part of Japanese Jiu Jitsu and created their own version of it. And it's become quite popular over the past few years. And it's a grappling art. So about 10 years ago, I was looking for something to do fitness-wise. And I didn't know what that was. I was going to the gym, but I was getting bored with that. And I walked by this place, and I saw these people in kimonos, Japanese gis for you see in judo and karate and whatever. And but they weren't doing karate. I did karate many years ago, and it was karate. It was okay. But these people were actually like wrestling and in kimonos, and I didn't think anything of it. I was thinking, "Oh, that's kind of cool." And so a couple months later, I walked by the place again, and this time I walked inside, and I said, give it a shot." I was looking for better fitness. Going into your 50s, I was going into my 50s, I'm like, I need to do more fitness. I was 180 pounds. I'm 5'5", 5'6", and I was 180 pounds, and I felt really bloated, overweight, slow, tired, all those things that we all feel, right? Coming home from work, I was commuting to New York City, taking an hour and a half to commute each way, and come home and I'd lay on a couch, and that was it. Go to bed 10 o'clock, get back up at 5 a.m., commute back into the city, and round and round. And many of you can probably relate to that. And so I said to myself, let's give it a shot. And so I went into the class, and I was the oldest one in class, but no one treated me like the old person. No one treated me like the old guy. And so the classes had men and women, about 1/3 women, 2/3 men. And most of them were police officers and prison guards, and but also mechanics and architects and doctors and dentists and a swath of people. And it was cool. And I got my ass beat. People just gingerly, nicely just rolled me all over the place, choked me out, beat me up, and I was tired. I sweat buckets. That hour I was dying. I was dying. And I was like, okay. So I get up the next morning, and every muscle in my body hurt. Everyone. And my hair hurt, everything hurt. And I was like, oh geez, what did I do, right? And so so from there, I took the next day off, which I was told to do, which was smart, and went back again. I think it was Tuesday night was the first one, Thursday night was the second class, and went in there and got beat up again. And made some friends, people said hi to me, helped me out, was giving me some help on what to do and what not to do. I'm a white belt. I know nothing, neophyte. And so I kept going. And there were days I get beat up by everybody, and I could barely lift my hands over my head. Coming home, I remember one night driving back home, and I could barely lift my hands on the steering wheel to drive. I was so tired. And my arms hurt, and I was doing everything wrong because that's what new people do in jiu-jitsu. And you get beat up by everybody. But it wasn't like you take this physical beating. You you lost, but you learned, and people weren't there for ego purposes. And over the years I've come to learn that, jiu-jitsu is a journey of self-discovery. You're not there to go beat up people. You're there to learn and learn about yourself and what you can and can't do. And if you have an ego, I guarantee you will lose it. But the other thing, there's two other things that the friendships I've made, you don't go into jiu-jitsu class or come in or leave jiu-jitsu class quietly. You come in and you're shaking hands, hugging people, truly, wanting to know how people are. Then you go beat each other up in a fun way for an hour to an hour and a half. And then you know what? You're all hot and nasty and sweaty, and then you're hugging people again when you leave. And it's a camaraderie. And this is men and women training together. And I learned that camaraderie, that friendship, soothed all the pain and whatnot associated with losing and getting beat and learning jiu-jitsu. But the other benefit that I gained from doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was my fitness. Excuse me, I have allergies. It's that time of year. And my fitness at 50 years old went through the roof. I'm a former U.S. Marine, or I am a U.S. Marine. The Commandant says we're now former anything. I'm a U.S. Marine. I did my 6 years back in the 80s, and always tried to stay fit, but life got in the way. And so I started jiu-jitsu at 180 pounds, again, 5'6", 180 pounds, and didn't have much muscle, didn't have much anything. And the workout was incredible. Buckets of sweat every workout. And so at first I wasn't losing much weight, and then I made a couple of minor changes to my diet. One was stop eating a big bowl of cereal for breakfast every morning, which is just a whole bunch of calories and not helpful. So I did this, and I ate my bowl of cereal. I got rid of my bowl of cereal and switched to eggs and cottage cheese and other high protein breakfasts, and drank more water. And next thing I know, I'm losing a pound a day. And then I read this book called The Carbohydrate Addict's Diet. It's an old book. I guess I can find a link for it and leave it down below if you're interested. Just taught me about carbohydrates and insulin and how to eat better. And basically said, eat low carb, no carb for breakfast, snack, lunch, snack. And then at dinner, have dinner, eat whatever you want at dinner, but make sure it's within like a 1 hour window. And that's it. That was the premise. Managing your insulin throughout the day. And so doing that in jiu-jitsu, I'd come home from jiu-jitsu and I'd eat dinner. And this is like 8:30 at night. Didn't matter. So I would come to work, have eggs, egg sandwich, have nuts or something like that as a snack, salad with fish and chicken on it for lunch, maybe a protein bar with low carb protein bar, or yogurt, Greek yogurt for a snack, and then I ate whatever I wanted for dinner. And I was losing a pound a day. So next thing I know, I started doing that 3 months into doing jiu-jitsu, which if you can get over that hump, then you're going to do it for a longer period of time. And I started losing a pound a day. And next thing I know, I go from 180 pounds down to 155 pounds. And all right, that could be a fad diet, you say, right? Get down to 155 pounds. And I did. I got down to 155 pounds, and I was weak. I had like a 10-pack. Here I'm 51 years old, and I'm ripped. But I have no muscle. I have no strength. My wife looks at me, and she sees a 10-pack on me. She's like, you got to do something. You look emaciated. And she was right. So what did I do? I continued with the diet, but I now started building a routine with jiu-jitsu of 3 days a week. and that was good. And then what I did for 3 other days of the week was go into the gym and started lifting weights. And basically, the objective was to put muscle on while eating and maintaining a weight. I didn't want to say 155, I'd like to get to 165. And so over the next year of just lifting and eating like that and doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, I go from 155 to 165. And I've been there ever since. I've been at 165, 168 for 9 years. And it hasn't been hard. It's consistency. Now, yeah, as you get older, you get aches and pains and people beat you up and you have to take breaks. So, yeah, as I started to realize that I'm not 20 or 30 years old anymore, I started to incorporate breaks into my schedule. So every 12 weeks, I would take a week off and not do anything. And then go back at it. 3 days a week doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, 3 days a week in the gym, lifting. And I've since maintained 165, 68 pounds since then. I compete in Jiu-Jitsu at the 168-pound weight class. And that includes your gi, with your gi on. And, and I've been there ever since. And as you come to learn, I'm a foodie. But so I did this, and I've been doing this, and it hasn't been hard. It was a couple of minor changes in my diet, but more importantly, being consistent in doing fitness. And more than just walking. Walking's good, but you have to work your body. You have to work your body. Yeah, slow and steady and consistency will help you do that. So that's been my journey with Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I'm now a purple belt, pushing brown belt, and hoping to get a black belt in the next 3 years, 4 years. It takes about 12 years to get a black belt. So I'm ahead of schedule. No, I'm on schedule, maybe a little behind schedule by a year or so. But as you come to learn with Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, the belt doesn't matter. The belt doesn't matter. The people you train with, the things you learn, the fun you have is far more important. And so, for you folks who might be 40s, 50s, even 60, and been looking for something to do, yeah, you can try Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. It's hard, but either you like it, you don't, you move on. But more importantly, find some sort of job, but just some sort of workout that you like, that you want to do 3 days a week, and do it well, and work at it, break a sweat at it. I would also recommend that you go into the gym and actually lift weights and maintain muscle mass. As we get older, our muscles start to break down. So having a healthy diet and lifting weights will maintain that muscle mass and that strength. And so that's healthy, that's good. And so, and it will help you medically, your fitness overall will be better. So do something like that. We'll talk more in subsequent videos, but welcome. And if you like, hit the like button, subscribe button, all that good stuff, and talk to you soon. Take care.